We're on the Bellshield demolition range in Northumbria with one of the Royal Navy's crack bomb disposal teams. They're here on an exercise to safely destroy a number of pieces of ordnance that have been taken out of service. Each controlled explosion is triggered remotely by radio. The receiver is wired to an electronic detonator, which triggers the blast via a length of detonation cord. And the results speak for themselves. Blastsax from EDS Limited now form an essential part of the team's equipment. Blastsax can be used in place of sandbags, but they are much more convenient and practical to use. When dry, Blastsax are thin and lightweight. Each of these cartons holds 20 Blastsax, and a vac-packed bundle of 5 Blastsax weighs just 3 kilos. But soak Blastsax in water and they swell up to 30 times their original weight, increasing from 75 grams to over 20 kilograms, and they reach 90% of their capacity in just 3 minutes. Blastsax are non-toxic, biodegradable, have an almost infinite shelf life and suit a number of applications, as Warrant Officer Andy Cars explains.
The reason we're first interested in Blastsax was to give us protection for operators prepping weapons on board ships. Because on board ships we don't have sand, we don't have sandbags, but what we do have a lot of is water, fresh and salt. So what the idea is to protect the operator while he's prepping weapons, we put them sandwiched in between 2 Blastsax, and we've trialled these and it's proved very, very effective, more so than a sandbag, to protect the operator should a detonator function inadvertently whilst an operator is prepping a weapon, or a 50 cal round functions again for weapon preps like a rocket wrench or de-armour, and that's proved very effective. So we've brought it into service and we've deployed them on all ships to give our operators that protection. The next stage, what this trial is part of, is to then expand out from here, and that is the idea of now looking and say an RPG comes in through the side of a ship and doesn't explode. We can then put a wall of Blastsax in the way, and the idea is that when we we'll attempt a low order technique, but whenever you do a low order technique you should expect the high order. And the idea is that we don't want to damage the computers, the services on the ship, fuel lines, water lines, all the rest of it. So the idea is to contain the damage that it does. Right, what we're going to do, start with, we're going to fire an electric det in the open, so you can hear the sound volume of the det going off. Okay, that's the first one we're going to do. Right, everyone's got all their radios off, mobile phones are all off, yeah? What I'm going to do now is a single L2A2 electric detonator, and inside an H83 ammo container. This is a pretty standard demonstration of the power of an electric detonator. It's like a single electric detonator, and you can see all the frag from the actual det on the inside of there. And you obviously see how the box is distorted, and all it does is I taped it to the bottom of the box and it blew clean through the box, and the pressure wave blew the whole lid off. You can see the hinge is buckled and it's actually blown, it's uncoiled those on the hinge on the lid and blown the whole lid off. So it's just the sheer pressure, one detonator.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Just goes to show. Right, our next challenge, we're going to use a single electric detonator in between 2 Blastsax. What we should see from this is the reduction in noise, and you've seen the frag in the box now, so you've seen all the throw out you get. The idea behind this is, one, it reduces noise, and two, when we've got here the operators prepping electric detonators, it's to provide protection from the operator. You've seen me prepping the detonators. If for whatever reason, stray RF energy or anything, that should function, it'll prevent the box effect happening to me as I'm prepping a detonator. That's the purpose of this. Same again, single electric detonator, this time in between 2 Blastsax. if we're prepping a detonator, we put the detonator under the sandbag, if we're prepping an RF hazard, and actually connect the cable while the det's under the sandbag. So if there's any stray RF energy or like that, and the det should function inadvertently, then you put the det under facing away from you, and you can see what the det's done is, because it's directional, all the polymers from the bag have gone out away from me. And if you look where I'm standing, there's hardly any here, and that's just what's been blown back by the wind. So that is perfect safety for me. So if that had functioned, all the hazard has gone that way, and I'm okay. And if you unravel the bag, what you're left with is the end of your det. So you can see how it's functioned, and it's kept your det almost intact there. There's at least half the det there, and you can see it's made a bit of damage to the Blastsax, but not much. You can see that again, the power of the detonator, the damage it's actually done. If you're doing something forensic side, like a pipe bomb or something like that, if you sandbagged them all down, you get all the components back as well. So it just keeps everything together. Otherwise, you're wandering the range looking for frag. So very good for doing that. So it provides good operator safety. That's the one that's in the Blastsax, so you can see how much more the det is left. And that one's, you don't usually get that much left. And you see, you know, there's a lot of the det still there. When you just do a normal firing, you usually get absolutely nothing left, don't you? You know, you get the very end tip and the det goes, but that's quite a bit left, so it proves how well contained it is. So that's quite good then.
On ID tasking, if you need to use sandbags, you wait an age for the local council to turn up with sand to fill your bags which you carry on board. If you've got these Blastsax, water supply everywhere in an urban environment, talking about people's sinks, baths, puddles, etc. We should be laughing.
So what sort of IED would you come across in an urban? So up to what size? Pipe bomb size, or?
If we're looking trying to deal with a pipe bomb, we want to keep all the bits and pieces for forensic evidence.
Yeah.
That is an ideal opportunity to keep them all wrapped up and use them.
We've got a bund of Blastsax built around. I think we've got 16 Blastsax there, and inside the bund we've got a Seawolf warhead which has got an NEQ of 3 kg. And what we're trying to do is reduce the throwout of the frag from the warhead. We'll never beat the blast, but we're trying to reduce it so that the frag, when it does go, doesn't go as far as an unshielded blast, so we can reduce the distance damage will occur at.
Firing!
And that's where we had the bund of Blastsax. So you can tell it's done the trick because the crater's deeper, so it's contained the blast, bigger hole, but it's stopped everything flying out. And the actual Blastsax have sacrificed themselves. And you can see all the bits of Blastsax all around. And if you look at the actual scatter, if you walk over this side, you can see bits of Blastsax all over here.
Yeah.
And you can see all the spread. I mean, this has all now been covered again, you know, by the large bang at the end, but you can see all the spread is out here. But what you can't find out here is any of the frag. Yeah, we've had a good look for bits of frag. We had loads of frag over by the hole, but nothing out here. I'm not saying there will be some, but it's stopped the majority of it. This is a 60mm HE mortar, fused, unfired obviously. For real, what we do is if it was a blind, as in it's been fired, it hasn't functioned, we would do this without touching it. Obviously this is an unfired mortar, so we're purely doing this as a demo. The purpose of this is to see the protection we get from the Blastsax bund we've built to reduce the amount of throw out and frag from the mortar. That's what we're trying to achieve. So I'm going to branch out the middle.
Firing!
Right, what we've got here is this is the result of the bund we built around an 81mm mortar. The purpose of what we did was to try and contain the frag. We left the bund open to vent the blast out the top. What the mortar's done, and the mortar's pointing this way, it's throwing the frag out this way, but the Blastsax have sacrificed and they've been thrown out all over, but the frag has been contained within a relatively small area. So in that way it was a successful result. You can tell it's been contained because we've got a deeper crater than usual, So we know that most of the blast has been contained by the Blastsax within the bund. You know, people expect to see the bund still in place. Doesn't happen. So they've been fragged out, and that's not a bad result.
With the bags, what would that do if you came across just that type of thing? If you put 2 or 3 bags round?
If it was just a small hand grenade,
yeah,
and if we put a bund round it, that should contain pretty much all of it.
right.
Yeah, so if we put one of those in that bund we've built down there, that would contain it, I think. Yeah. What we're trying to do is come up with a system where we can reduce our safety range when we're doing operations on beaches, obviously on ships. You know, you're only going to get so much protection.
Yeah.
And what we're doing here, we're sandbagging the ordnance. On board a ship, you can either sandbag your ordnance or do it a slightly different way. You'd actually sandbag protectively, so you're protecting. Say you've got a rack of computers, you know, the old computer, the drawers, all this stuff. You can actually build a wall in front of them, you know, to protect them. So you'd allow the blast to dissipate, the frag to come out, hit the wall, and that would stop the frag in its tracks. And we've trialled these, and it's proved very, very effective, more so than the sandbag. The Blastsax provides good operator safety.